Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you wherever you are, because it is
Morning Somewhere!
for November 12th, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. Don't call it her all-time high. It's Ashley Burns, everybody. How you doing, Ash?
I'm still going up. I might crash every now and again, but I always get up again.
Little flash crash in the morning?
A couple times throughout the day, a meltdown here and there.
That's a reference to Bitcoin creeping around $90,000 US.
So I remember when Bitcoin had had that massive run.
I did it again on that one. Sorry, everybody.
You know where he gets it from. When it was around, I want to say it was headed for 60, and everyone was like, "You don't understand. This thing could go to 100 one day. This could get as high as 100. What would that be like?" And now we're sitting here at 90.
There's people who say like a million. That's what the moon means. A million. Can you imagine a million? A million.
Sure.
Well, to me, the like fantasy fallacy of all this is that people who are like big time Bitcoin maximalists, they talk about when everything collapses and Bitcoin will be worth $1 million. It's like they don't realize that $1 million will be worth,
Yeah,
nothing.
people are going to have dollars in wheelbarrows. So $1 million is going to be $100.
But one of the things that's driving it, of course, is the election of President-elect Donald J. Trump. And there was a Gizmodo article that I was reading that Trump is already preparing to load up the government with pro-crypto officials. Elon Musk would, of course, be one of those people. He waxes and wanes a lot on crypto. Read another article about on Yahoo Finance. Elon Musk's Trump bet has paid off so well that Tesla is now worth more than the rest of the car industry combined. They're talking about market cap.
I was going to say that feels like a flashback headline. That's happened before.
It
right?
has. It has. This is the highest it's been in 2 years. They're just like talking about how Elon Musk's like all-in bet with Trump has paid off for him. But enough of other people's victory parades.
When you, I don't know. Look, when you put out a smash hit like the Cybertruck.
Hey, third best-selling EV in the U.S.
I don't understand.
And sometimes it's tough when you're seeing something do well and you just don't get it. We have that a lot in I think in entertainment and pop culture. When something takes off and you look at it and you're like, it's about how you feel old, right? Or you feel like an outsider.
I absolutely do. I'm like, I get it now.
What is this?
What? Who? Why? Where did you come from? What are you doing?
What do you have like that?
Do you have permission to be here?
What do you have in entertainment that's like that right now?
I mean, a lot of it for me is musicians, right? My musician discovery has really slowed down. In recent years. I remember when I was in school, right? Someone would be like, "Oh, you have to listen to this." I felt like I was discovering new music all the time. And that doesn't really happen anymore. I'll put on Spotify and I'll go to it's like, this is what we think you'd like to listen to. And generally I go, I would like to listen to that. Thank you. And I'll hear new things, but they don't lock in the memory.
For me, it's always something online related, like YouTube, like watching people eat or something like that. I just don't get it.
I don't get as well.
This is officially where it's like, I'm too old at this point. I just don't get this.
Sure. I'm like, I know it's a thing. It's clearly not a thing for me, and that's fine.
You're like that, though. You must be like that with me and ASMR, though, because you're not into the ASMR stuff at all in any way whatsoever.
When you watch your quack chiropractor videos to fall asleep, I know that you're not getting tips and lessons from them or being like, yes, this is legitimate. But every time they do a crack and there's clearly superimposed sound effects of cracks because it doesn't sound like that.
How dare you?
You were telling me about a lady who has a spiritual stand-in for customers across the country.
It's called remote healing. Put respect on it when you say it. How dare you? I did read a funny comment, though, about ASMR, which is the further it leans into quackery, the more it appeals to them. And I feel the same way. The more ridiculous it is, like someone across the room, making symbols or something, and then affecting someone's energy or doing a cleanse, I'm like, oh my God, this is knocking me out. I have no idea why that works, but it works.
I assume it's the pure fantasy of it. You can turn analytical brain off because none of this makes any sense. Why try? It's one of the reasons that I like fantasy and sci-fi a lot is just that, like, I don't have to pretend that this is real. I don't have to question too much of it. I can have a nice time.
Ashley set up our table today. She's like has a key light behind her, the sun. She put her back to the sun. I am staring into the star of our solar system right now. It is just every photon coming off of that sun is coming straight into my eyes. Look at this. I can't even open my eyes all the way.
Think of it this way, though. That sun is 8 minutes in the future. What does it have to say about Bitcoin?
Yeah, really. What's the story, son? Fucking fill us in. What's going on? Should we sell? Although I'm in that point now where it's like I'm watching everything and all the numbers are up, and that's the point where I get nervous.
Right, like, we're talking bubbles. I think there are a lot of bubbles happening at the moment. I think, in my opinion, Tesla's kind of a bubble.
Tesla's a bubble. Okay.
Tesla is a very. I like the Tesla that we had. I think that they have a very unique place in the market. I don't think that place is worth every other car manufacturer combined.
But I would agree with that. That's a little ridiculous. But I mean, if the future of vehicles is EV, how come no one else seems to be making even like a fraction of the progress that Tesla is making?
I think Tesla got lucky in that they built the very early momentum, and they can continue to ride it with much smaller investments than they did previously, whereas everyone else is playing catch up.
Yeah. It's like it seems to be Elon Musk's strategy, like long term too, is to make these all in bets on one thing. Like Tesla doesn't make an internal combustion engine car. They don't make one. It doesn't exist. There's no hybrid. They're all in on electric, and they have been for over a decade. And I would like to say like that survivorship bias. Like we don't see the stuff that he goes all in on that doesn't pay off. But I can't think of anything that he's tried to go all in on that didn't pay off.
Solar City.
I mean, but.
The tunnel between.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There you go. Thank you. That's a great one. Yes, thank you. The Boring Company.
A submarine.
I read a submarine in a tie. Cave. Oh my God. Yeah, the Boring Company is a big one. I read a theory about the Boring Company that it was just a subterfuge, or was, in order to get the state of California to stop working on high-speed rail. And if that is true, and that's proven to be true, and he ever like touts that, like, look, I got him to stop high-speed rail, he should go to jail at that point. Honestly, if you're stopping those things,
fake businesses to stop other industries from progressing, I mean, that's some cartoon villain stuff.
Well, there should be a word for it. I get you have to protect your investment and what you're working on, but if you're doing that to like some degree of great detriment, for everybody, that should be a crime unto itself.
Bernie, may I make a suggestion?
Yes, go ahead.
I think that we should pause for a moment and you should go get your sunglasses.
My sunglasses, my awesome Ray-Ban Meta Schmart Glasses that I have.
Well, yes, and then you can also talk about them, but then you can also wear them and resist the sun.
If I put my sunglasses on, though, I'm not going to be able to look at my screens here, so I'm screwed either way. Okay. So I'll just suffer through this.
Okay, well, but let's talk.
If you find that I'm struggling a little bit, it's because I literally am doing the podcast right now with my eyes closed. I have my eyes fully closed right now.
Well, we can talk about your sunglasses anyway. Maybe that will help mentally somehow.
Here's the other thing, Ashley. Ashley, where are you, Ashley? The other thing is we knew this was going to be a problem as soon as we sat down. It would have taken, 10 seconds to fix it?
And we didn't?
I feel like I'm sitting here right now just completely blinded. I'm baking in the sun.
Okay, so sunglasses. When you went back to the U.S. this last time, you bought a pair of those Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses that we had recently learned about before your trip.
I was kind of shocked by this because Ray-Ban, in association with Meta, put out a pair of Wayfarers. There's a bunch of different models. You can get different styles and things like that, even like transition lenses, where it has a camera integrated into it and other smart features. I want to be clear before I talk about this. There's no display in it, right? So I can get like a little notification. Like there's little LEDs that I can see from the inside, but that's it. So I can't actually see like alerts and notifications written on the lenses. It's not like full AR. But they're more like the Snapchat glasses they had a few years ago.
Oh, I think those are still around. And I'll put a link to them in the link dump so you can see them. The difference being these Meta ones actually they're not exactly like a regular pair of Ray-Bans, but they're closer than anything we've seen so far. And
How are they different?
the frames are a little bit bigger.
They're
the
thicker,
frames are a little
yeah.
bit chunkier.
Yeah, there's a bigger form factor for all the circuitry and smartness.
The smart. They got to put the smart somewhere.
They got to put the smart in there.
But they mostly look like regular sunglasses, whereas the spectacle ones, they look like someone's like 80s sci-fi version of futuristic glasses.
No one has ever asked me about them when I'm wearing them, if they're like a weird kind of sunglasses or anything like that, as opposed to like Google Glass, where you look like you were, a meme from Spy Kids or something like that, wearing those. And I think these are great. And I get now why Snapchat made them, because Snapchat, I associate that as like the social media platform for hookups or music festivals.
Snapchat?
What do you think of it as?
I think of it as basically the one that the kids used before TikTok.
Oh, like a dancing, like
No,
making videos?
It was like the one. It's like, I feel like every sort of like generation or group as they're coming up through school has like the one. And I feel like it was Snapchat before it was TikTok. And people liked it because everything would disappear. It's like stories, like everything's cribbed now, right?
Right.
But, it was ephemeral. Things would disappear. And so people would post pictures without makeup or doing stupid shit because it didn't matter. It was going to be gone in 24 hours.
I associate it with secret chats that disappear and with stories. That's what I associate it with. And so they had these glasses where they were really goofy looking, had like a ring LED on them. And I realize now it was really smart for them to make that. And I wish more people would have these kinds of glasses because you can take photos, which is awesome for the kids. I was showing someone how to do something, like I was doing something with two hands and showing someone a video of how to do it because we were leaving somewhere and I wanted them to be able to reset a breaker. So I just recorded what that would actually look like if I did it.
And then you could send them the video.
The best use for this, though, that I'm hoping everyone will end up with a pair of these glasses is because imagine going to a concert and everyone has a pair of glasses that are recording as opposed to everyone holding up their goddamn phones everywhere you go. I don't like the idea of a camera like facing me every time I'm talking to someone. There is an LED on the outside, which I haven't tested, but I'm sure you can cover. When I turn on and it's recording, there's a giant blinking white light on the front of it.
Okay. Is that so that you can't like stealth record people without their knowledge?
I assume that's
sort
what
of protection.
Yeah. And it's like, if it didn't have that, I would never want to talk to someone who had a pair of these glasses on. So you kind of need that as like a two-way kind of authentication that this is not being recorded. We're about to have a jet pass.
We're establishing trust.
Yeah. So these Ray-Bans, they're $300. It's funny because you say I bought them when I went back to the US. My MO has been when I travel back to the US, I always bring 2 empty checked bags. Then I buy stuff that's cheaper in the US and bring it back to the UK. I might be doing that opposite in 6 months if this tariff plan actually goes into action.
Well, I mean, it sounds like that's possible. The predictions now are that game consoles are going to go up. The cost of most consumer electronics and things like that are going to go up. So you could end up having suitcases full both ways. You can take things to the U.S. and then you can continue to pick up whatever we need in the U.S. and bring it back.
And there was
mostly like things like American cheese, tariff-free stuff.
I do feel like after the election now, suddenly tariffs is a huge discussion. I have heard a lot of people say, though, that they don't think Trump will raise tariffs, that he's just using this in a very typical Trump bluster kind of a way to threaten everybody else in the world, essentially. Like, we're going to tariff the shit out of your stuff.
Fall in line or else.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll be curious to see then what the cost of the smart glasses ends up being in a post-tariff world. But interestingly, Bernie, Amazon is actually working on their own version of smart glasses, not for consumers, but actually for their drivers. And you were saying that like the Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses, whatever, they don't have a screen inside. It sounds like what Amazon is hoping to do is something like those, but something that does have an overlay that will guide their drivers. Think of it as like CarPlay or GPS, whatever. It can get you there, but then will also help them navigate inside buildings. So they're going to start mapping the inside of buildings. I assume that means they bought Roomba.
What bought what?
Roomba.
Oh,
or something
Roomba,
like one
yeah.
of those, basically,
Listen, it's all data to be sold.
They bought the data from everyone's vacuum and have turned it into these maps of interiors.
Yeah, they got all of Google Home and Nest cameras.
Right.
They got all that from you.
just to guide their drivers so that we can get our parcels and our packages a little bit more conveniently.
I wonder if Connect had that anywhere in their business model, because they were literally mapping out people's rooms with the Xbox Connect device, which is a thing that nobody used. I mean, how many times have you used an Xbox Connect?
Not often. I did play Connectimals. There were one or two games that
Connectimals? What did you do in Connectimals?
I petted like animals in zoos.
Really?
What else were you gonna do?
I have no idea. People, it's one of those really cool technologies where they put it out and everyone's like, this is badass. And it was kind of at the height of like Xbox funding of like, yeah, this is really cool and we'll see where it goes from here. And they were kind of chasing the Wii, with like the Wii Fit and things like that. And it's been repurposed since then, where people now use it for all sorts of different cool like motion capture projects.
I remember it got like hacked and people were using it in like medical capacities.
Really?
And
what would they
things
use
like
it for
that.
medical?
Either like mapping out or showing like overlays or having like sort of like virtual training where you could like have your hands and it would see the movement and then put it into a simulation, that kind of thing. It was, they had a lot of interesting ideas, but from a gameplay perspective, there just wasn't, it didn't have the precision that it needed with the amount of lag or like the sort of like, it had too much input lag.
Can you imagine, Ashley, if you were laying on the table getting ready to have surgery and the guy said, don't worry.
I trained on Connect.
I've been practicing on Connect.
Look, we talked about using like a colonoscopy simulator on the king. So yeah, I can see it.
And I realized that was a little misogynistic because I referred to the surgeon as a male. No female doctor would use a Connect to train themselves.
We all looked up how-to videos on Instagram.
I was protecting you. Speaking of female luminaries, did you read that Ray Gunn has officially retired from breakdancing?
No.
She was driven out of the art form by the public ridicule.
And the sport has lost another one.
I know. And it was really funny because a Vikings safety, I'm not familiar with the Vikings roster, but he caught an interception for a touchback and then immediately did Ray Gunn's routine.
I did see that. I did not realize at first that's what he was doing. I was like, is he just like flailing around? Is he trying to get a Fortnite dance in? What's going on? And then you told me that was actually Ray Gunn's Olympic routine.
Yeah, he completely parroted the whole thing. It was great.
I think missed the kangaroo hops. That probably would have clued me in.
He did it right at the end, or whatever the pose was at the end.
Well, speaking of, Bernie, sports, this weekend is finally, ulcers willing, the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Oh my God.
So this is going to be in Las Vegas and on Netflix.
Has this lost all of its momentum for promotion on this?
I feel like it had a lot more earlier in the summer. Yes. I suspect that we'll see a big flurry of promotion the rest of this week leading up to the fight. But yes, I feel like there was more momentum before the ulcers hit.
Also, it's like, hey, we have to reschedule this fight. How about the week after the presidential election? No one will be talking about anything at that point in time, right?
Everyone might like to see a bunch of fights, though.
People beat the shit out of each other? Yeah.
Sure, why not?
I mean, it's just like, it was weird timing to put it right now. And I do feel like this was something everybody was talking about in like May, then it got delayed, and now it's like, I didn't even know it was taking place. I had forgotten it was on Netflix.
I saw it when I had Netflix loaded up. I was putting together, Bernie, my viewing schedule for Christmas movies.
Yeah.
And so it was just on that sort of screensaver they have where it just cycles through still shots, promotional images of upcoming things. And that was one of them. And I went, wait, what? And had to go look it up again. But it's going to be interesting. So we'll see how it goes. Jake Paul is coming off of 4 fights in a row that he has won. And I didn't know this, but I guess Mike Tyson hasn't fought anyone in like 4 years.
Has it only been 4 years? The dude's like 80.
Well, so here's an article from MMA Fighting. It says he hasn't fought he hasn't fought since an exhibition draw with Roy Jones Jr. in November 2020. And he hasn't had a professional fight in almost 20 years when he quit at the end of the 6th round against Kevin McBride on June 11th, 2005. So this one is going to be 5:30 p.m. Eastern time.
So only 2 in the morning for us, Ashley.
Right.
That's actually 10 p.m. for us.
It's Friday night for Americans, Saturday wee hours of the morning for us.
Wait, you said it's 5 p.m. Eastern time, right?
5 p.m. Eastern time Friday.
That's 10 p.m. for us. That's not so bad.
Oh, great.
But that's probably when the undercard starts. I don't think Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul is going to be at 5 p.m., is it?
The Netflix promo card for us said 1 a.m.
Okay.
So Friday evening, Saturday morning, depending on where you are in the world, but it is happening as far as we know.
It's on Netflix, so it's not technically pay-per-view. You have to have a subscription to Netflix to watch it, but I think most people have a subscription to Netflix.
Or they just live in Las Vegas. And they're just going to turn up and be like, "What's up? Let's watch a fight."
We could, if I really cared, we'd go look at the prices that were being scalped for the tickets back in the summer versus what they're being scalped for now. You know,
I don't think I care quite that much.
Did you read also? This is kind of going to get lost. The story came up. Did you read that Oasis is canceling tens of thousands of tickets in the secondary market?
Like scalped tickets?
Yeah, they bought tickets from like an auction site or a secondhand site, and now once those things trade hands, they're immediately invalidated. And it was an astronomical amount of tickets.
I don't know what the solution is for the sort of scalping ecosystem with things like concert tickets and so on, but I hope that a solution for it can be found, because it does seem like people who want to go to concerts can't just go to a site and buy tickets anymore because scalpers buy them all up and then resell them at these insane markups.
Yeah. So if you're looking at something, I want to come back around to this Ray-Ban Meta thing. I like them. I want to be clear about what they are. They're really just camera glasses. They do have headphones in them as well, speakers, so you can actually listen to music or audiobooks or things like that. I have to say that's a little bit inconvenient as you take them off, because you tend to take off sunglasses quite a bit. If I had gotten transition glasses, the lenses, that would probably be a little bit more convenient, or for making phone calls or things like that. It's just like you have to think about how often you're taking off a pair of sunglasses as you change environments and things like that.
Yeah, well, as someone who's had transition lenses in my glasses before, I can tell you that the dream is rosier than the reality, because basically anytime you change from the sun to dark or back again, you're blind for a couple of seconds while it makes its transition. Either you can't see anything because it's too dark.
How does that work?
Or they haven't kicked in. I think it's UV reactive. And then also
like an algae?
eventually
I
the
feel like it's an
UV
algae.
coating like wears out or something. What I would love to see is if you could like push a little button on the side of your smart glasses and it goes and then just darkens. That would be
like
awesome.
liquid crystal.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go like partially like opaque.
Bernie,
think you're
I'm
like
talking
either
about the
opaque or
future.
not.
No, I'm talking about the future. Let's get partially
Sure,
opaque.
yeah, no, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Get them in a grid system
It
or
does
something.
seem like the transition set their timeline like 30 years ago, and they haven't improved at all. It's like 5 minutes of like weird like half sunglasses.
All right, Bernie, I'm going to set you free because you're still blind.
I am still blind over here.
Before we do, I would like to say thank you to Angus McDevitt and Eric Finnegan for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morning somewhere. You guys are the title fight.
Can I ask a favor of everybody too? Is this new game Lockdown Protocol that I'm seeing suddenly start to pop up on viral video sites everywhere? Is this worth playing? Should we look at this for a Patreon gaming night or something like that?
All right, so if you have an experience with, what is it, Lockdown Protocol?
Lockdown Protocol. It's the new Among Us, Ashley.
And we're talking about the game, not the process of going to school in America.
Wow. On a really positive note, we'll end this podcast. That does it for us today, November 12th, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you'll be here as well.
Bye, everybody.